Hello? Hello, and welcome back, finally, to Little Man Big Conversations. Wow, it feels weird to say that to you all out there listening. It is a pleasure to be back. I'm sorry that I've been gone for so long. I think it's actually been almost, if not just over a calendar year since the debut of this podcast. So if you're still out there, if you still hit the subscribe button and you're following it, and you're doing all the social media plugs and links and shares and everything else, thank you very much. I appreciate it very so much. And yes, this episode is entitled The State of the Podcast Address, because I thought it would be appropriate, before we get back into the episodes, yes, spoiler alert, it's coming back. It's, well, it never really went anywhere, let's be honest. There's a lot of episodes that I've recorded, a lot of them have to be edited, a lot of those ones that I was telling you about many, many moons ago, about how we've got these guys coming in, we've got new people coming in, we've got ones we've already recorded. The ones we've already recorded, the ones I want to get to at the end of this season, yeah, they're going for about 4 or 5 hours long. So it's going to take me a little time to edit those ones, but I'm happy to report the podcast is back in action, as the French would say. Not sure which kind of French person's saying that, but just bear with me on this one. I'm I'm a bit rusty. I'm a bit rusty getting back into this again, but so let's get into it. Let's get into the episode title. All right. So, state of the podcast address. So, I'm sure you're all out there wondering, people that are listening to this, what the hell happened? Where did you go? Where did this podcast go? It was on a good thing. It was keeping you busy during the lockdown. I appreciate all the messages that you guys sent, all the interactions, all the demand. When's the next episode coming? Come on, man. Even to this day, I still get people going, hey, man, I just found your podcast. So there's still people out there that are listening to it, which is fantastic. Thank you so much. If you are just finding it, I hope that what I've recorded thus far has entertained you. And for the people coming back, thank you very much. So, what happened? Well, without going into a lot of boring detail, well, I wouldn't say boring detail, but it might be boring to you because you're on the outside listening to me tell my tales. So I want to rectify that. It may not be boring, but in terms of content, not as exciting. Basically, my mother for a period of time got very unwell. I'm happy to report, bit of a Tarantino here, we'll go to the ending, then tell you the beginning. She is all fine and dandy now. She had a bowel cancer scare, which, as you can imagine, is something that no relative wants to hear. As a survivor of cancer myself, I don't wish that illness upon anyone, be it friend or foe. I think it's such a debilitating, disgusting disease, and for anyone out there that's ever encountered it, has known people that have gone through it, or if you yourself have, as such, gone through it yourselves and beaten it, you know firsthand just how deadly this thing is. So there was a time there where the brakes went on everything. I took as much time as I could to be on hand, because my mother and I live about an hour apart. So I was on hand for anything that was happening, calling every day, making sure everything was okay. So naturally the podcast started to fall behind. And to be quite honest, during that time I was still wrestling, and this will be, I'll continue this on another chapter of my wrestling career episode, and I'm sure that I'll follow up with soon. There was a period of time there where I just wasn't in the mindset to wrestle anymore. Naturally, as you can imagine, there was a lot of things clouding my mind. Most importantly at that time was my mother's health. So the podcast took a dive. My wrestling excitement, I guess you would say, or enthusiasm or interest, began to sort of also subside as well. And in doing so, there was just a lot of negative, delaying energy that was in my life at that point. And we were trying to bust through it. We were trying to get positive again. But some things slipped. And some things... excuse me. Just adjusting the microphone there. Come closer. What? That was weird. Yeah, it was just a period of time where we just had to focus all our positive energy as much as we could during that negative energy time. We had to make sure that everything that we were doing was for the benefit of our family, and as such, the podcast and the wrestling began to sort of slip out of my main focus and interests, and therefore the episodes that were edited, or recorded I should say, were not uploaded due to what was going on. So that is a very broad summary of what exactly caused such a delay. But as I said just before, I'm very happy to report that my mum is fighting fit. She's doing very well in the world that we now live in, the new normal as it's called. But she's doing much better. Wrestling has picked up again. I'm in a different frame of mind with it now. I'm doing a lot of different roles, which, as I said, I'll get into in a different episode. But I just wanted to come on here very quick. It's going to be a very quick episode to announce that the podcast is continuing, that the new episodes will be edited and uploaded as quick as I can. But I need to hear from you guys, because this is the one thing that I've noticed with these episodes, and it's no criticism or critique or anything like that. I know these episodes coming up are long. Alright, like I said, there's about some episodes that go for 4 hours, some episodes go for 5 hours. Those are the rare, unedited recordings. We just hit the record button and we just chatted. So, I want to know from you guys if you would be interested in, let's say the episode goes for 3 hours. Would you guys tolerate an hour and a half, part 1 and part 2? So, part 1 hour and a half, part 2 hour and a half, total 3 hours? Or would you like the part 1, part 2, part 3 kind of intervals that I've done with other guests? So, notably Diablo, Arachne Suicide, BJ Blade, Blaze, things like that. There was variance things there where it was just one part, or there was cut up into multiple parts. So the choice is yours. We can either have, it'll still be multiple parts either way, because I really don't want to edit up a 3-hour episode and have it all be uploaded in one big chunk. That's a lot of time. Okay? It's okay for me to edit that, but it's also, more importantly, you as a listener get some enjoyment out of that. And I know that life has been crazy right now, and everything's very hectic, and we just don't have the time to sit down and spend 3 hours, hypothetically, listening to a voice. I understand that. So, what would be better for you guys? Would you like an hour-long episodes divided up? So if it goes 4 hours, four parts, 3 hours, 3 parts, etc., etc. Or would you like the big chunks, let's say an hour and a half, one episode, hour and a half, another episode, total combined 3 hours? The choice is yours. Please hit me up on the social medias, LMBC Podcast, LMBC_podcast. If you can't find it, it's out there, it's out there. I'll have to blow the dust off the passwords and the pages and bring it back up to speed. But please let me know on social medias if you would like the big chunkier parts, or would you like the 1 hour little snippets cut up into various parts. So please let me know on the socials if you would like that, because it's really going to help me out with future interviews, future podcasts, and all sorts of creative endeavors right here on LMBC Podcast. So get on those socials and let me know ASAP. Speaking of these social media pages, I've got to tell you, when I was getting back into this podcast, I don't know how or why. I'm pretty sure it's somewhere on my computer, but all those little snippets and trailers and clips that you guys would see, I damn near have lost the project files. Now, for those people out there that aren't in the tech-savvy editing world, let me break it down for you. The project files are basically, every time you hit save, everything you've done in editing on the computer saves as what's called a project file. You can open that back up and continue on with your work. Consider it the draft, okay? The draft to your Microsoft Word, right up before you hit that save, that print, that email button, whatever it is you do on that program. Let's call it a draft. Now, I was editing these drafts, doing them for all these episodes that you guys have seen, or listened to, I should say, or the videos for the trailers that you have seen of the upcoming episodes, and I have lost the files. I don't know where the project files have gone. I have all the uploaded trailers that have already been out there. Like I said, BJ Blade, Blaze, Arachne Suicide, Diablo, all the episodes that have gone out there so far, Rip Riley being the last one, Adam Brooks, all those trailers, I have the finished files of those trailers. but for some reason, I cannot find the project files. So the trailers may be a bit slow. I will still make them. I'll still do my best to recreate them. But they may take a little bit of a working around. It's crazy. I don't know what I would have done. I think I must have just, been clearing storage off my computers at one time and just hit, I don't know what that is, delete, and not open the folder. It was an accident. It was my fault. I don't blame my computer at all. It's not like my computer deleted it on some sort of weird fight that we had, like an ex-girlfriend or something. Like, I'm deleting all your stuff. No. Computers don't just delete shit. So, yeah. The trailers will still be coming. I may have to rebuild them at this stage. It looks like I may have to. But I'm going to do my best to get that content out there for you guys because I know it excites you, gets you hyped up for the episode, and I'll do my best to get that to you pronto. But that will do it here for the State of the Podcast address. I hope that makes sense. I hope you're still with me out there. Thank you so much if you still are. If you're still joining us and you're wondering, wow, this podcast has kind of died off. Yes, I agree. It did. It's coming back now. New episodes will be coming out very, very shortly. But thank you all so much for listening. And I will catch you. Man, it's been a while since I said this. I will catch you next week. Right here on LMBC Podcast.